Alrighty. Let me actually turn the. That's probably why it was so low. I didn't realize that. Hello everyone. My name's Wheeler. Welcome to Wheeler's Minis, and welcome to another episode of Mini Paint and Chill, where I mini paint, you chill. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hello, hi YouTube people. Yeah, today we're gonna get some work done on some of the stuff that we had started last week. My new paints finally came in. I've been using them. They are absolutely phenomenal. I'm super stoked. And ready to use them full time. So I'm super excited about that. Got some work done already on some things that I did while I was away, and some stuff that I need to get done today as well. So sit back, relax, enjoy. If you got any questions, please let me know. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and dive right into it. I already got some work done on that guy, but we've got some zombies to work on, and I've got some other things that I need to work on. I probably will be using some paints from the big set, because I've gotten rid of all of my I've gotten rid of the oldest paints that I had in my set. So I've pretty much switched everything over. I'm going to donate the paints that I have, because some of them I definitely didn't use. But I'm going to donate some of them to a local secondhand art supply shop. But yeah, should be using some of them today. I'm getting some of this black primer because I put some green stuff on something. Yeah, it's called Art Parts. It's like a creative reuse center, exactly like that. I was gonna do like a local game store or a high school or something like that, but I don't know anyone from my local places like that, so I thought it'd be better to donate to a place that I have bought stuff from before. So that's my plan for the leftover stuff. But yeah. So for this, again, like I said, I put some green stuff on this to help cover some seams. So I'm just painting the same primer that I used to airbrush it with over the green, so it doesn't show up too much when I put some speed paint or stuff on it. Because the green tends to give away a lot. The texture does too, but I've been trying to be better at texturing it to fit the texture of the model, so it doesn't show up too heavily, and matches nicely. So super busy week this week, though. I literally 10 minutes ago just got back from the car dealership because there's nothing wrong with the car, but I wanted to take it in to make sure that it was good to go, because we're heading to WonderCon at the end of the month. So I want to make sure that the car, the thing that's supposed to be getting us there, is actually in working order. That would definitely help. So normally I would airbrush this again, but because I wanted to get some work done on it, and because it's most likely going to get covered with blue anyway, I'm just kind of painting over it, like I said, with this primer that I use. Yeah, it's just making sure that it's working so that we don't have any issues, hopefully, as we're heading to WonderCon at the end of the month. And then just the talking about why I'm using this primer, basically. I am going to get some work done on that dragon, but I will wait till that dries. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to do. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Nope, that's also not what I wanted. Does look like the stuff that I was thinking was leather is actually metal, which is fine. Let's go back over it. All right. So we got this guy that we can continue work on. And then I got some other zombies I can work on as well. Let's see, what do I want to start with? And then that guy just needs some detail work done on him, and he's pretty much done. This is also going to be a later project that's part of the dragon. Oh, okay, so much. Did want to work on this guy too. But let's... Some of these are the new paints, like this one is, and it is. I mean, it's still. It just needs a little bit of water. It's been sitting there for a couple days, and it's. I mean, it's still good. So, all right, let's get you off of this. Put you back on. I think the thing that I need to do next, though, is get some wash on him. Which soft tone is the skin tone, and strong tone is the earth shade. So, along with, like, a slew of new paints. I also have a buttload of new washes, new metallics, new fluorescents, and like effects paints. So I just have a lot of new paints. I have no room left on my thing for them. But we will be using some of them today. So what I'm going to do is get some of this strong tone, which is like a basically what is the equivalent to a like Earthshade. That's not what I wanted. Whoops. That's just paint. I'm dumb. It's okay though, I can get it off. There we go. Alright. So far though, I've liked what I've been using. Like it is fairly good paints. They are unbelievably smooth and flow ever so wonderfully. And really only take like I'm gonna do a video on them, and I was shooting some B-roll I was painting so that you could have some of it, and I was just like unbelievably impressed with the colors. I mean, the range is absolutely insane, but not only that, just like the texture and actual use of the paint is so nice. So super excited to get that video at some point whenever I have free time, if that exists. But yeah, right now it's just getting some tone on the leather bits and the skin, and then we could probably start working on another one. Yeah, I did a lot of research on this one because I have done that in the past where I was like, ooh, I like this this brand, and then they make something and I'm just like, meh. Like the Vallejo paints that I got, they're good, don't get me wrong. Like I enjoy the color scheme they have, but it's very limited and they tend to separate very easily. Like I've only had them for a certain amount of time and they're already separating pretty badly. So and I don't think that's their fault. I think it's my lack of use fault, but still soft tone. But yeah, all of the stuff that I've seen about this specific set has been like, these are some of the best paints ever made. Like, and there are people who are like, yeah, they're now on par with other companies' paints that are, you know, have been good for years now. But you know, that's what you want to see out of a company who's like, yeah, we're keeping, you know, obviously the price point's going to change a little bit, but we're still keeping our price points lower than everyone else, and we want to offer a quality product. And I mean, so far what I have noticed from using these paints is that is the case. They're still going to be cheaper pretty much than everyone else's paints. Which is very important, especially for people who are wanting to make sure that they, you know, are painting good quality products. Or competing in events, stuff like that. So making sure that they have the best available to make sure that they are doing the best that they possibly can. So like making it an actual achievable buy for pretty much anyone is a big deal. Obviously buying the complete set tends to be a little expensive, but Yeah, it's definitely a jump in price from their older stuff. Like I think it's an extra $2 per bottle, but that's still compared to some other brands is leaps and bounds better. And I mean, like they even said it up front in the videos that they were doing up to release. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna let you know right now. The best deal that you're gonna get is buying all of them, and we know that that's not accessible to people. But if you buy them in sets, you're gonna get a better price point overall for the paints that you're getting than buying individual bottles." Like they've just been very forward about their whole process and like who they've talked to about it and who they've gotten like recommendations from and talked to. So it's just Army Painter's like really good at making sure that the people who like their stuff are aware of what they're doing, which is really nice. All right, so just got some soft tone on there, some flesh tone to kind of help bring back some of that fleshy aspect. We're probably still going to highlight with like a grayish color, but let that dry for now. Do some work on something else. Yeah, they're at least from the stuff that I figured out and learned and come to conclusions of, is they're actually a pretty decent company. So, all right, we're going blue on this guy's wear. Blue on the hat, blue on the cape, blue on the bottom. Maybe a brown, but I think we're going to stick with blue. And they have a really nice system. Deep green blues. No, I want a gray blue. Green blue. Deep green blue. Ooh, vivid blue. That's good. Strong pale blue. Desaturated blue. Vivid blue. Crystal blue. Arctic June. That's the highlight. Not the mid-tone. This one. Royal blue it is. Have to be careful because of the pressure change up here, they kind of come a little bit messy in the cap. But like even just looking at the paint as it goes onto the palette, like is vastly different from any of the paints that they have ever released prior to this. And one of the talking points of it was just how much you could get out of one brushful, and I was finding myself going to the palette less than I ever have while painting because it just covers so well. You know, and it's never a bad thing to go back and get more paint, but like if you can maximize the amount that's on your brush, you know, why go back? It's going to save you paint in the long run. You won't need to put as much on the palette. So I'm going to put a little bit of water in there just to thin it down a little bit, but honestly it doesn't even need that much thinning because it's already a pretty good consistency. But just to help get kind of some color. And it's saturated enough to where it covers very well, but in the places where you need to paint, like you can see a little bit of shine through underneath the model, or underneath the paint on the model, where it looks like there might be some room for some more paint. So just a really good paint set. And probably well, not even probably, definitely like the best paints I think I've ever used, off the top of my head in this moment. I mean, that's literally just like, that's one coat of paint and it's already fairly like already colored. So actually, I'm not going to do this color on the underside. And then they expanded on their color triad system, which has like a high, a mid, and a low. And now it's like a low mid, a mid, a mid high, a high mid, and then a high. Like there's 6 different colors in each bracket now, which helps out a lot, especially for someone like me who's starting to get more into like making sure that models are highlighted properly and like have shadows and things like that, because I want to get better at that stuff. I think you can do a pretty good job with any tools. I think that tools help artists be better, but I think that you can be a good artist with not expensive tools. Again, like, that doesn't mean that those tools will not assist you in being a better artist, but you know, I've been painting minis for 5 or so years now, probably a little less than that, but you know, I didn't start out with all of the stuff I have. You know, I started out with your pretty standard $5 group of brushes from like a Michaels or a Hobby Lobby or what have you, and you know, any paints I could get my hands on. And over time, I've learned the kind of stuff that I like. But even when we were doing mini paint and chill before, I didn't have all the stuff that I have now. I had, you know, pretty standard non-sable brushes and things like that. Oh yeah, it is fun when you like, when you're already pretty good at something and you get a tool that just kind of unknowingly bumps up your ability, because then you're like, oh, I've been missing out on so much. Because that's how I felt when I like started picking up actual like good brushes and good paints and stuff like that. Because I agree with you. Like you start to pick up good materials and you're like, oh, I have been doing this not wrong, but I have been doing this so much harder than it needed to be done. It's like when you play in a game. Yeah. Ironically, the achievement thing, it's like when you play a game that doesn't have achievements for playing at a certain like difficulty level, and you're like, oh, well, I'm gonna play on the hardest difficulty level because like I'm so used to games having that as an achievement based thing, and then you get to the end and it's just like you beat the game, and then you look at it and there's just no achievements for playing on a difficulty level, and you're just like, wow, I made that wholly unnecessarily harder on myself. This paint really doesn't fight you. Like it's very good. That's been one of my biggest things is like when I want to get back into painting, I paint for a little bit, but I just the paint doesn't hit the model the way I want to, and I try to fix it and then it just doesn't do anything, or I try to thin it and then it thins too much, and it's just a whole fucking ordeal, and I just don't like that, you know. When I paint, I want it to be fun, and this is one of those paint lines that when I started painting with it, I was like, oh, I am enjoying painting with this stuff because it's actually a good paint. That color for now, and then you'll see what I mean. Like, and that's the thing, some people were like, oh, it's just so subtle, the differences between some of the colors, that they almost look the same, and I was like, that's kind of the point though, because you want consistency across a triad of colors. Like, even if it looks somewhat similar but is like vaguely darker, you want that. So exactly. Well, and that's the thing. This system is great because, like, so this one specifically is, you probably can't see it because of the glare, but it's like it's vivid blues, and there are 6 colors in this vivid blue one. So this is the 3rd tone in the vivid blue. So if I look for the 2nd tone, it's probably on this side. That's the first. Where are you? Okay, so there's royal blue and regal blue, but this regal blue is just like slightly darker, which I love. Like, I love the fact that they're so close together, because, like, also, Army Painter, if you ever watch this, thank you so much for putting mixing balls in the paint tubes prior to giving them to us. it makes my life so much easier. But on the palette, like, it's they're very similar. There's a bit, you can tell it's a bit darker, but like they are very similar colors. And so what I did with this guy is the kind of the same thing that I'm going to be doing with this zombie. Is like that is the, you know, that's the tone that I want, but I'm going to color the underside of all of that stuff in the deeper vivid blue tone because it's shaded. Which normally you would get that effect from doing the same tone and putting a shade on it, but I want to deepen the effect by giving it a separate color and still shading it, so that way it, when it shows up, when it's done, and you know, are looking at the model from different angles, you see very clearly that this is the underside of something. You know, that part is, that's not the color I wanted. That's fine. That part's becoming more important to me for models. Like, you know, very rarely will someone take a model and look at the underside of it. But I like making sure that it, you know, it looks good and I'm happy with it, because it's something that, you know, when I paint models, I don't want to give you something that I wouldn't be happy to put at my own table. And I have a pretty high standard for what I want at my table. But when you buy minis from me, that is the quality that you're going to be getting. Like, one of the first commissions I ever got actually was at Emerald City this year, and met up again and bought some more stuff from me. And he was like, I literally have that piece in a display case. Like, I don't touch it. And like, I specifically like prime models and finish them so that you can touch them. Like, I don't want you to feel like it is so fragile that you can't touch it. But that means the world to me, of like, you think that my stuff is good enough to be worthy of a display case, and that is awesome. Because that's just a testament to what I want the quality to be on these models. It is. It meant the world to me, and what also meant the world to me is everyone coming up to the table and being like, "Oh my God, these are incredible! You charge way too low for what you do." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I want things to be affordable." They're like, "No, like, you can be affordable and still price your stuff out higher." So that's why I started upping my prices, because people literally were coming up to me and being like, "You don't charge enough." Yeah, I didn't know what to expect for the con. Um, my biggest thing was just like, I just want to sell something, because, you know, that for someone who's, it's not my main source of income, but for someone who, you know, paints and sells their product, like, to know that people want to buy it is very important. And then a guy came up and bought like 5 things, and then more people were coming up, and I noticed a trend of things. When I sell things, more times than not, someone will come up and they'll be like, "Oh, I'll get this," and I'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool," and then they'll be like, "You know what? I'll take this too, and this, and this," and I'm just like, "Okay, you got it." And then before you know it, I run into the problem of something I've never had happen before, which is selling out of all of my stock that I brought with me. So yeah, that's fun. But you probably can't see it because it's even hard for me to see it at times. But there are some spots on here that I'm just going back over because they just don't have enough pigment on them. So just doing a second coat, never a bad thing. Sometimes it's just what's needed. They are, and yeah, it's been a nice, like, especially starting to get back into the general vibe of painting again, like after being away from a while. Like selling stuff that's been in the store for a while now is always fun too, because it means like, oh, I sold the thing that I very clearly not a lot of people were interested in, so now I can open up room for more stuff that people might be more interested in. So it's kind of just a win-win, and it's been nice. Like I definitely cannot take the credit or all of the credit for this, because like I would not be able to go to cons if it weren't for my friends who are like actual artists who booth at places, and they're just like, yeah, you can have some of our space. Like that has helped out immensely. And like I literally would not, had we not made these friends, yeah, I said that right. Had we not made these friends, I probably would have never opened a shop. So definitely good to have friends. What I might do for, just to keep it all in the same color scheme, is that little sash right there. I might do in a brighter tone in that. I want to do the brightest. I'll do the second. but just to keep it all in the same color scheme. Yeah, they're very important. I don't know where I would be without the friends that I have, and we don't always talk, but we don't always need to, so that's a benefit. So that's the front of this part. And then for the back, we'll grab the second from the top. Or the third from the top, my apologies. Which is not that one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one, it is this one. Just a little bit of it. I don't need a lot. Yeah. Okay. So there are a lot of like I can't even. I'll take a picture of everything. Like it's my setup, and there's probably there's 16 per thing, and I've filled I would say 4 or 5 of these. So we're talking at max 24, 64. 64 to 80 paints that are up here, and there are so many on the ground. Like I very, very much underestimated how much space I had, or overestimated, sorry, how much space I have. But yeah, I don't know what it is about paint companies, but they really like the color blue. The answer to that question is yes, but I also am trying not to spend a lot of money because we have a lot of stuff that we have to do this year. So that's a problem for like Michael down the road. Whenever I decide that it's high time to get more storage. I'm already planning on it. Like I'm saving up. I just got a lot of stuff that I'm saving up for right now. So it's not the forefront of what's going on. One of the things that I'm saving up for is more printers, not resin printers, but FDM printers. So I can kind of get a print farm going. Because a lot of people sell some of that, I'm not gonna say it's like worthless stuff, but like the articulating dragons, like kids love that stuff at cons, and so I've been considering like starting to print some of those out, just to like, because I know that this stuff isn't gonna sell for everyone, because there are a very select group of people who are going to buy this stuff. So I want to have more stuff that's like available just as a, hey, if you and your family stops by and they're like, oh, I really want this thing, you can get something for kids on the way, and it'll help, make some money for the business. But yeah, I'm looking to get a double color printer at some point, FDM printer, like one that can do multiple, I can't think of the word I'm looking for right now, multiple colors of filaments. But yeah, and the fact that we're probably going to be moving soon, not out of state again, but just to a different space to make sure that we all have the space that we need for the things that we're doing. I just don't think it's wise to get more storage when I don't even know what the space that I'm going to be storing in looks like. But I will be buying from Frontier War Games again because hot damn, their stuff is hella sexy and looks really good in the office. Alright, I think that's everything clothing wise, minus obviously his pants, but everything that's going to be blue, I think that is it for that. So let's go ahead and get back to this guy. I made his pants green. It's not necessarily easier, it's just like you can print things very, like, you can print things and just immediately sell them, because, you know, certain parts just need to be a certain color, so it's not necessarily easier, it's just, well, I guess in the sense that it is less work, then yes, it is easier. I guess that's actually exactly what that means, so I'm just dumb. Alright, so we did ghoul flesh for him off the bat, but I'm thinking more of like a grayish skin tone. We've got a lot of skin tones too, which I was really happy about. There's like carnelian skin, because that's the one thing that you don't really get a lot of in paint sets is skin tones. Like, it's very like, not to call anyone out, but it's very like white centric. It's very like, you're either a tan white person or you're a white person or you're a fair skinned person. But this has like a lot of skin tone to it, which I really, really appreciated, because I don't want all of my models to be European descent people. That's boring. Oh, all of the grays are here. Uniform, ash gray, which I'm super glad I got more of. Ooh, this one is separating. That's fine. I don't know what color I want. Mocha skin, no. Onyx skin, no. Maybe I will just do ghoul flesh again. No, I don't want to do, because it browned up really nicely. And it's goopy. I need a green though. Buff hide. I think most use this. Buffed hide, ruddy umber, fur brown, dried brown, tree ancient, oak brown. None of those. Elderflower, that's a beautiful color. Oh, and really nice light pinks. Yes. Really nice light pinks. Golly. Yeah, that's literally it. When I first got dark flesh tone, I absolutely was like, oh god, thank god. Cause yeah, just not good. Alright, so we've got a good green actually. For olive greens, I've got a necrotic flesh. It's a little green. What I might do is I might mix some of these up. Like mix this with a little bit of a dark gray. Nope. Nope. That's warm gray. I guess that is kind of what I'm going for. Alright, do a little bit of this necrotic flesh. And then a little bit of Castle Grey. Oh, thank you for reminding me. My head was literally just starting to hurt. I was like, I should probably drink something. This one is separated a little bit, which I tend to notice with the grays that tends to happen. So we'll get just a little bit of this, and then a little bit of that green. Get a nice kind of like olive brown, gray tone for the skin. And this is the beauty. I said this. I've said this multiple times on some of the videos that I've done that have zombies in the set. The beauty of zombies is that you can make them pretty dirty, and it still fits kind of the scheme of what the zombie is. You don't have to make it perfect. Yeah, that's a good color, actually. Sometimes I'm good at what I do. Other times, not so much. But getting them to be just like a little grimy isn't a bad thing. Benefit of this too is you can go over and see where the shade might have taken a little bit too much color out of what you wanted. And just go back over that with the skin tone and kind of bring some of that vibrancy back. I hesitate to use the term vibrancy for a zombie, but you know, it happens. Yeah, that's why I printed a few of them. I think they're really good getting back into painting like mini to paint, because you don't necessarily have to worry too much about the detail. Like, you definitely want to make sure that you're still getting things the colors that they need to be, but you can be just a little bit messy with it in a fun way. That skin tone actually looks really good. Like just enough of an olive to give that kind of George Romero like traditional zombie color of that like greenish. I missed this with the shade, that's okay. But not not so much that it's too green to where it's comical. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I did. Like there's some red spots on here that I was like, I don't know if these are meant to be like pustules or what. I was like, I'm just gonna paint them red and it'll be fine. But yeah, he's looking pretty grimy. I love that. And what we'll do too is we'll go back over the red and we'll just like hit parts of it. With like a dabble of red on the top. Like a lighter red. Oh man. Whew. Then we'll work on the... What I would really like is if I could get, because I think there's a dried blood effect in this. Oozing vomit, that's one. Oil stains, that's another. Verdigris. That would actually make sense that is why that one paint is not working for me. Yeah, see, like, we have true blood and dry blood. Which I think I'm going more for a dry blood effect because it's a zombie. So I'll probably, what I'll do is I'll do a little bit of the, oh god, it's so deeply crimson. I love it. So what I'll probably do is I'll just do like a little, oh, it's like viscous too. It's like blood. Oh, I love that. So what I'll do is I'll take just like a little bit of this and like go in with those places that I have blood. Or there are cuts on the... I was telling Honey this the other day. I was like, it's rare already for a tool to make you want to do something that is like a artistic endeavor. It is almost unheard of to have a set of paint want you to like get you excited about painting, but that's what this set is for me. Like this is just so exciting. These paints just make me want to paint, which is good because I need to paint. But yeah, this paint coming out of the tin, or not even the tin, the dropper bottle is so unbelievably viscous. Yeah. I don't know if I would ever want to work with watercolors. Every time I talk to someone who's done it, they're like, please, just don't. Just don't do it. And what I'll do to keep the color scheme similar too is I'll paint the fletching on these arrows with the necrotic flesh color. Just to keep some of the consistency and like the color scheme in there. And it's just like a light coloring of it. Yeah, that's why I'm so happy I have this set up, because it takes literally no extra work on my part. I just have to walk into the office and start work for the day. Which I also understand is a huge privilege. Like, I know that this is not something that is normal in the art industry, so I am very happy with what I have and thankful for it. So what I'm going to do for this is, I don't need a lot of it, but I'm just going to like kind of go over the top of some of these like pustules with a bit of a more vibrant red. Just to kind of make the color pop a little bit. I know they have the dry blood on them, but I just want to make sure that they have a little bit of shine to them. Yeah, this guy's looking pretty good for a zombie. It's also giving me a good chance to try out I think I've already tried the leather out, which I'm actually going to go for no, leather brown is the lower mid. Yeah. Man, I like thinking where I am now versus where I was 2 years ago with this stuff is just, it blows my mind sometimes. I'm not normally a big, like, cartoonish looking model painter, but I have been enjoying the kind of contrast between the, like, really deep lows and immediate highs. I think it looks interesting. So I've kind of been trying to do a little bit of that more on some of the models that I've been painting recently. In moderation. I'm not trying to do it on everything that I'm doing, but I am trying to give it just a little bit of a stylized form. Killing me. And that has nothing to do with untrimping. It just has to do with the fact that my neck is just killing me. I am going to paint over this, though, with some leather. oil that leather, although there is an oil one. And there are some bones showing on this one, specifically in the foot. So what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll do that. Oh, and I forgot to do that. Alright, now the pants. Oh, I gotta get some bone, which I think is in Hornstone, Gargoyle Gray. And grab the bone. Leopard Stone Skin. Amber Skin. Dorado Skin. Ruby. Moonstone. Brain Matter Beige, which also actually probably would have been a really good one to use as the skin tone, but I like the skin tone that we got to. Opal Skin. Something Flesh. That's red. Skeleton Bone, Ancient Stone, Bony Spikes, and Pale Sand. Bony Spikes. Which is light neutrals. Yeah, it is. I guess it makes sense, but I always found so much like peace when I was sitting in a barber's chair. That I'm just like, guys, it's okay. You're gonna feel better at the end. You're gonna be cooled off a little bit, which is gonna be so nice for you. But I guess I get it. So an animal who is normally used to moving around a bunch, not being able to move around a bunch is probably very stressful. So. Alright, there's the bone on him. Last few things we gotta do are the metal buckle and the pants. And then his base. I don't know which base he has, though. I don't know if I brought it over there or not. Alright, metals, which I have not used in this set yet. Oh, beautiful. They give you, like, an actual look of what they look like on the thing. Instead of just giving you, like, a... Alright, so mithrils into the high. But it's, like, actually chromy. So it lets me know what color it's going to be, which is really nice. That's definitely too much, but that's okay. Oh, yeah. So I'll take a little bit of that. Just touch up the top. did do camo cloaks, so maybe I should look for a camouflage one, which I think I saw down here. Army green, camouflage green. Is a little too bright. Woodland camo is the darkest olive, and I think this is the one that I want. Jeez Louise, it's already been an hour? Just a little bit. So that's the thing about zombies too. They can be dirty, and the clothes that they're wearing can be dirty, because unless we're talking about that one movie with Nicholas Hoult, was it Warm Bodies? I don't think he's going to care too much about dry cleaning. Could just be me. You know? I know if I was a zombie, I probably would want to look my best. But I don't know if this guy would care too much. Oh, shoulders up, back, and relax, band kids. I actually think Monsieur Zombie might be done. Or Monsieur Zombie 1 might be done. Oh, that's what I forgot. I was forgetting something. To make sure the belt loops are pants toned and not all right. Let's get some white in those eyes. We'll actually probably do a more of a gray. Oh. I know that you have a white in here. Like I'm almost 100% positive. Yeah, there we go. White, but I think I want to go just slightly gray. Better. Yeah, the grays I guess just don't mix very well. I don't think that's Army Painter's fault. I think that's literally just the color. Yeah, that looks good. It's really grody with all the red. It's pretty well painted, if I can toot my own Hoarde for a little bit. Gnarly looking. Alright, now I just gotta see which base is his, because I printed out everything together. And then we will, let's see, what will we work on next? I guess we'll keep working on this zombie. I think what I'm going to do for him is I'm going to do a darker brown on the... No, you know what? To go with the lighter blue, I think I might go khaki. But there isn't much brighter than that, so I might go down one, which is the one above leather, which is this one. Paratrooper Tan. Let me look to see which base he has. Just one of those normal bases like this. Alright. So this actually should be pretty easy to do. We'll go ahead and actually we'll take some of that castle gray since it's already there. Let the brush slightly. bada bing, bada boom. You got a base. Alright, so for this guy, we're going to do that paratrooper tan. As his pantaloons. Which the next one up is leather brown, so we already have that on the palette. So these cards under here, I'm just gonna hit with that leather brown real quick, and then if I feel like they're not in the right spot or the color's not right, I'll just hit it with the paratrooper tan, because it's gonna get hit with. I'm gonna shade them still. So it's gonna get hit with a tone anyway, but just to make sure. Off the thing. We're getting there. If I keep painting like this, we might have at least a little bit of stock for WonderCon. But the rest of this week is normal for mini painting standards. We're gonna have a stream on Thursday. Keep saying we. I'm still stuck in the stream of many things mentality. This is definitely my stream now, so I will be here on Thursday streaming. Yeah, see, like this stuff is very clearly going to be seen by the light, so it's going to get a tan coloration. And then the next one below leather, I think, is already out. No. Next one below leather is is it out? I don't think it is. I think it's like. No, Burgundy Brown is the lowest. So where's the other brown? I swear I was using it for something recently, and now I can't find it. Carbon buffs. That's not. Oh, Urban Buffs is that lighter than Bootstrap Brown? This is the one I was looking for. This is higher than khaki? I guess it is. Alright, I am going to move this white because it does not need to be up here. I don't know why I put it there. Probably because there's no room down here, but yeah, I'll take pictures of them and send them in the Discord. I'll probably post a picture of it on Twitter too, but oh, that's what I was going to do with this guy. Need to the metal. See, this is when the synergy of a company's paints really starts to show, because what I usually base these in is the speed paints, which is by Army Painter, and now I'm using the Fanatic line almost fanatically, so to speak. But alright, and then we've got some brown and blues are just so pretty together, but it really goes to show you that when you make a good quality paint that goes with your other good quality paint, it looks good. Crazy theory. But so what I'm doing now is painting the belts that it kind of has across its body. I'm not being too careful with it right now because Zenithal priming is great, but sometimes it can muddle the details. So what I'm doing right now is just making sure that the details are brought back by the paint that I'm using. And this is my base tone for all of it because it doesn't really need to be darker than this. I'm just going to highlight where I need with leather brown. So we got the bootstrap brown on right now, and then we'll hit this up with a tone. I might actually use the speed paints over top of the Fanatic paints. See how that works. Again, I'm not being uber careful, but I'm being kind of careful to make sure that I don't get a color where it doesn't need to be. But luckily with this, I can just kind of come back over it at some point. If need be. Honestly, once I get this color on, what I'm probably going to do is maneuver over to a different thing to end. say this is where it starts to get to that point where you're like, oh no, having nice brushes is definitely going to help out. Because getting detail with brushes that aren't the best brushes is not easy. In fact, I would highly recommend against it. Alright, we'll take some of that tan color. Hit these places. Come on, chicks. Cut it out. And that's the beauty is all those places that you see that are a little splotchy, it's honestly perfectly fine because once I put the tone on there, it'll probably pick those up very nicely and just shade them the way that they needed to be shaded. So not too worried about it. He's looking pretty good so far though. Like he's definitely just got color on him. There's not really any depth to the model, but he's it's a good start. Better than certain starts I've had in the past. All right. This guy I will work on probably on Thursday. What I'm going to do now is get this guy based. Where is it? There you are. This blue color is gorgeous. I was using it to base yesterday, and I'm going to need quite a bit of it. Alright. So we'll take. What is it? I was using. Alright. So it is going to be just a little bit darker over that splotch line, but again, it'll be fine because it'll get covered up with. With the paint job that I do on this guy, but I want to start with this really deep blue, and if you're following along and want to know how to paint, this is Beowulf blue, the speed paint. I tested it yesterday on the tail and it looks gorgeous. It's a really deep and rich blue, which is exactly what I want. Now blue dragons are coastal creatures canonically in D&D lore. So if you wanted to go for more of like a Caribbean kind of sea color, almost like a teal, you could absolutely do that. But for this guy, this is more of a desert color, and I want him to be kind of almost sapphire-like. So that is what I'm doing for this guy. The reason I'm doing speed paints for this is because they catch all of the little tiny details on the model so well. And with a model this big, it's easier for me to go in and get this shade kind of already pre-put onto the model, dry brush over it, and then focus on the details, rather than trying to paint the whole model in a base color and working extra hard for something that I can do relatively quickly. Now mind you, there are a lot of people who paint differently than me. There are people who don't prefer to use speed paints. They prefer to do a traditional style, which is, you know, base coating and then working your way up from the base coat and what have you. And that is completely fine. This is just how I choose to paint because this is kind of how I've developed painting. I am getting away from doing this on every model. I had made a comment prior that I do this for every model, and I am getting away from that. Not because of any particular reason, I just want to challenge myself. I want to, you know, take this, which has kind of become habitual, and turn it into something that I only use for larger models, or when I have very little time to paint something. So. But, I mean, that is gorgeous. Get all the pieces that are going to be painted blue. And then I can place this over here to let dry. Sure. I'm doing the wings first because those are the biggest pieces, so I just want to make sure that they get paint on them. Yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out. I know we only got like 20 minutes left, but I appreciate you being here and chilling with me. It was slow last week, so I'm glad that you guys were able to make it this week to chill. There's a little bit of green in it, but it's not the worst thing. Again, I think with the paint job that I'm going to be doing, it'll mask it, and if I need to, I will just pay extra attention to those areas to make sure that they are the color that they need to be and not being overshadowed by that extra stuff. Normally it's something I would do before I primed it, so that way when I primed it, everything was just a pretty standard color across the board. But this has been sitting in my desk for a very long time, and I did not have any green stuff back then. Nor did I have the now slight adeptness that I do with green stuff that I had, or that I didn't have back then. So. Really getting a nice thick coat of this on there to help saturate it with that blue as a good starting point. And I know there are tan pieces on a blue dragon, specifically in the membrane of the wings and on the underbelly. but I like having a base tone of what the color is, so that way it matches across the model what it needs to be. I.e., basically just talking about undertones. I didn't go to school for art, but I did learn my art from someone who did go to school for art, so. Making sure that the undertones match is important to me because I like making sure that the model looks cohesive once all the paint is on it. I'm super happy that I'm actually finally getting work on this done because I've been meaning to paint like dragons for the shop for so long now. And I printed this one out. I basically have access to all of the chromatic dragons, and a Tiamat mini if I really wanted to, but about 15 minutes left. Probably get stuff all over this guy, which is good. And we'll go back to that other zombie that we were working on. Also, I've been thinking about doing something for those of you who have been following for a while. Now that I have a sponsorship or a partnership with Eldritch Foundry, I was thinking about doing like a model making thing where you guys like make models and then I'll print and paint them. I'll probably put more info about that in the Discord, but if that's something that interests you, please let me know. I've been thinking about it, and I don't think it would be a bad idea, but I just want to make sure that you guys are actually interested in it before I do something like that. Yeah. Well, that's also okay. You don't need to have a game to have pretty stuff. Someone literally won. I had a giveaway and someone won the 20% off, and they were like, I don't really see anything that I like. I was like, okay, well, if you want to commission something from me, like, I'll still honor the 20% off, so just let me know what you want. And they just got like a little Fey dragon. It ended up looking really, really cool. I don't remember if I posted it in the chat or not, but yeah, I just thought, like, you know, I don't use I haven't been able to use a lot of the Eldritch Foundry stuff yet. I'm trying to maneuver my players over there. It's just that Hereforge has been kind of the market name for so long. But they were kind enough to allow me to get my own sponsored link. So I'm trying to promote them as much as I possibly can. And yeah. Come on. They also just have, like, they've been adding a lot of stuff to their website recently, which has been really, really nice. So, alright, I think that is the base for that. I will return momentarily. I need to just fill this back up with water. I also got to try this new noosh. It's like a weathering medium from Monument Hobbies, which I also picked up some paints from because I've been hearing the Pro Acryl are also really good paints. So I've got specifically I have flesh tones from them because they have a really good range of them. But all right, so that tail, the rest of the body now. All right, this here, and then for the last little bit. Color and hair. The other day I was painting too, and I was like painting like this up, which is probably how you're supposed to be painting. And I was like, wow, my back doesn't hurt, my neck doesn't hurt, my head, I don't have a headache. It's crazy what happens when you do what you're supposed to do and actually sit properly. For the skin tone for this one, probably shouldn't get started on this since I don't have a lot of time left. I got 5 minutes. But I think for the skin tone for this one, I'm going to do some of the Castle Gray mixed with this other gray. I think it's Brigade Gray. Just as a base. And then I'll hit it up with some of that strong tone. Or, sorry, soft tone. And then highlight with that same skin tone from the other zombie, just to keep some consistency. probably will, but just in case I don't, being able to get at least some color on him that I know is never a bad thing. And it looks like he does have some bone showing in places, so I'll be able to go back through and really get some proper color on him. But I mean, this is a good start. A good starting point or stopping point for him, I guess. And it is 5. Look at that. Man, a lot of fun painting today. It's crazy what happens when you have paints that actually are fun to work with. Alright, well, that's going to do it for me here. So, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you watching. If you aren't already following the channel, please do. If you have the financial ability to, please consider subscribing. Don't forget that if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe for free once per month. Yeah, I'll be back at this on Thursday at 5, my time, 7 Eastern time. Probably finishing some of these guys up. I probably will paint in the interim. But, yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. I'll post a picture of that zombie in the Discord and probably on Twitter as well. But for me, that's going to do it. Have a great night. And I will see you all on Thursday. Good night. Whee!